I don't have a particular type of story I want to tell. What becomes important for me is, well, what do I want to spend the next 6 months thinking about? What's going to excite me? When I first finished college, I had studied to be an actor, and I actually feel sometimes like I'm a better actor in my head, working out characters, improvising what they might say to one another, finding the story on the page, than I ever was on stage. Understanding what comes out of an actor's mouth and how an actor thinks when they sit down to perform something is key to what I'm doing. It's the actions that you have to translate to a film. A character does something. A character wants something and tries to achieve something. If the character is wandering around looking at pigeons and thinking about his childhood, you have to find a way to manifest that in action, or you have to cut it. In adapting a book and originals, there is a similar process. I take Post-it notes of different colors and I write quick ideas on them of what scenes might be in the film. Anna first comes in here.
Yes.
And so if that's the beginning point, we say, Anna wants the drawings back.
Yes.
That's easy.
Yeah.
And because I'm using different colors, very quickly you can see which plot lines and characters are getting short shrift. You get a visual sense of where the interactions take place in the story that you don't get when you just put up white cards. This may be a foreshadowing thing earlier, I don't know exactly. I want to pull that out of here because I think it leads to that mistaken flight where the guy gets killed.
It definitely does.
Luke has been my assistant for over a year now. I taught a class at Emerson and he was one of my best students, and so I have him help me with outlining books and reading material that's coming in and giving me feedback on my own drafts. That's been tremendously helpful. I learned a long time ago that I need at least the illusion of structure in my writing life to alleviate the stress that comes from days where it's not working. Because when I'm done at the end of the day, I do my best to be with my family, watch bad TV, have a glass of wine, not worry about anything. And if you don't have a writing time, you're always writing. And at the end of the day, I only got 2 pages. Well, that's what I could do today. I think the biggest problem with writer's block is a fear of inadequacy, that the result will not match your aspirations. I have a routine that I call yelling at the paper, where if I can't figure out what I'm doing, I just start kind of stream of conscious, complaining about that. I can't get through this section, I don't know how to do it, because every time I try to do it, this character, I don't know where that person should go, and that's because, it's because that person shouldn't be in the scene. In one version he has a completely different story. In another version he has
parts of the truth.
Parts of the truth. I would like to see his journey evolve into something unexpected.
Yes, definitely.
What makes a writer is the ability to write a scene 5 different ways without making it a personal attack if someone asks you to do so. If someone says, try the scene, this way, you can try it in the full knowledge that you'll have learned more about the characters, and if it is not better, everyone will know. The longer I have gone at this, the more I've come to believe that the rewriting is what really makes a good script. I think a lot of people could be much more creative than they realized if they were willing to believe in themselves and wanted to put in the hours to get it done. You become aware of the gap between the accomplishment of someone who's experienced and your own ability, and you tell yourself, well, I can't do it, rather than saying, well, I have to keep doing it until I become that good. I have found over the years that I'm telling many of the same kinds of stories and gravitating to the same kinds of stories over and over again. What excites me, what infuriates me, and you end up finding those threads coming out in what you write. It's an exploration of how you feel about your journey. If you find the right way to engage it, it's not going to get old.